Test, test. All my friends that are out there, let me know if you can hear me now. Tracy Dawson. Looks like it's going to be 2nd and 7. Manasseh throws the ball out of bounds. Incomplete pass.
Pass goes out of bounds, incomplete. Pressure from the Royals, number 11, Ahui. It'll be 3rd and 7, Fremont.
Okay, looks like I think we figured this out. If we figured it out, I'm very impressed with myself because I just solved a technical problem here without race and I didn't know what to do there. Now that we have sound, quite the wild start. Not the start we're looking for, I'll tell you what. Like I mentioned, anytime, I think you could probably ask every coach and they'll tell you that senior day is the worst day ever. Not because we don't love our seniors. It's because, man, there's so much going on. There's a lot happening. We're super excited for our seniors, but it kind of turns into honoring things, and we forget that we have to play a football game. And then you add on to that the emotional game last week with Westfield, and then you add on that Roy is not has the best record, that's for sure, and maybe we have looked past these kids a little bit. Like I've mentioned multiple times, guys, before you get angry, when you work with 17 and 18-year-old kids, we don't know what we're going to get ever. So we try to prepare, we try to do what we can, but I'll tell you what, you just don't know. So we had to punt there, and it looks like it's going to be 6. That first possession was just looked like an out pass that was just jumped, picked for 6, and Roy now has the football again. So no doubt that we'll settle down. Somebody will get a nice, sweet message from the coaching staff, and we'll be back to normal here soon. Roy's quarterback, number 15, Rockwell Spiriton. Big, tall kid.
Quarterback keeper, number 15, Rockwell Spiriton.
Looks good. I know
He's brought down by a pack of wolves.
the Spiriton family, actually, in my Granger days. Their younger sister
Kyle Herron.
played volleyball. Granger High School. She was also tall. Looks like it's 2nd down and 7 for Roy.
Carry by number 0, Taonia Tusu. Close to a first down. He's pushed down by
Number 0.
2, Jackson Masters.
I'm not going to lie, guys. His name, I don't know if I can pronounce his name.
Another carry by Taonia Tusu.
Taoia Tusa? We're going to call him Tusa. Guarantee that's his nickname, Tusa. Number 0, Tusa on the carry. Going to be 2nd and 5. Spiriton with a quick pass out to number 5.
Pass intended for number 5.
Cynic Harvey. Ball is dropped, but it was a forward pass, so it is just an incomplete pass there.
Ball falls incomplete.
It'll be 3rd and 5.
3rd and 6 for the Royals.
So again, I apologize for the sound. Looked like the race left me with this big, huge, complicated board here, and one of the little sound things was muted. have no idea. He didn't have any idea. Glad he called me and told me, and we kind of figured it out. Quick pass to number 7, Riker Cordero.
Number 7, Riker Cordero.
Not going to be enough for a first down. We'll bring up 4th and about 3. We'll see what Roy decides to do. Looks like they're going to go for it. Which midfield, up 6-zip, first quarter. Oh, bringing out the punt team. I wouldn't have hated that idea, but why not? When you play a team like Roy coming in, we're not really playing, at least for a whole lot. That's a very difficult situation. That's a great punt. A little squib kick that goes all the way down to about the 3-yard line. Great punt for Roy. Teams like Roy are dangerous right now because they have nothing to lose and looking just to come out and punch us in the face, which they have done. We'll resettle. Looking down the sidelines, I don't see any of our coaches freaking out. I think we're well aware of what we have to do, and we'll be fine. Manasa keeps the ball himself. No gain on the play. Maybe a loss of 1. Just look a little bit out of sorts right now. Manasa keeps it himself, moves to the middle, puts a good move on. Yeah, brought down. It looks like it's enough for a first down. Side judge is signaling first down. I think the best way to calm things down might be just to run the ball a little bit, use our strength, and we can open it up after that. Hand off to Chase Blanche. Picks up a good 6 yards. If you didn't tune in last week, unfortunately the biggest loss of that Westfield game was our running back, Cade Hadley. I know I mentioned multiple times that I was not a doctor, but I was right. It was an ACL, MCL situation, and just a heartbroken young man that has invested so much in this season, and it was unfortunately going to require some surgery, and he's going to be out for the remainder of the year, probably for a while. That was heartbreaking, but you've got 2 quality running backs behind him, Taylor Graham, Chase Blanche, who picked up the slack very well last week as he went out in the first quarter, and then hoping to continue the same. It'll be a difficult task. It's tough to replace Cade. He was a strong, powerful runner. Not only was he fast, but he wasn't afraid to hit the holes and then hit people. So he is going to be a big loss for us moving forward, but those 2 have stepped up, and I know sometimes when those things happen that it inspires those guys a little more, and they run a little harder for their buddy that is, the realization that his season's over. So it's the one thing that nobody really wants anything to happen to them, but it does when you play sports sometimes. So kind of sad. 2nd and 4 on our own 20-yard line, looks like. See if we can't get things going here. We do have a quick strike ability. We can score really quick. I mean, that's a fake handoff pass to Celesi, but he wasn't looking.
The ball falls incomplete. It'll bring up 3rd down.
Just seem a little, ooh. Chase Blanche, the ball carrier, brought down in the backfield. It's going to be 4th and 4. It looks like we're going for it in our own territory here. I guess it's a smart move if it works. 4th and 4 on your own 20. I'm not sure that most coaches outside of maybe Kalani Sataki would go for that, but we did it and we got it. So first down, Fremont, first and 10. Hand off to Chase Blanche, brought down, pickup of maybe one.
42, Chase Blanche. Tackle made by number 11, Ahui. Second down, 10, Fremont.
Yeah. Manasseh keeps the ball himself. Pickup of about 5 or 6. I know talking to the coaches this week, they mentioned that Roy's defense, they run a similar system to that of Westfield. Makes sense. Eric Jones came from Roy, but looks like they've made some adjustments, however. So they've done a few things to tweak different ways to stop us. So far, give the edge. Tip your hat to Roy. Three receivers set to the right. Huh. Good thing we jumped back because we were offsides by like 10 yards, and we just dropped the football.
Pass intended for number 2, Slade Parker.
Pass intended for Slade Parker, and just dropped it.
Ball's incomplete. It'll bring up fourth down.
Holy crap, we're going for it again?
And I guess if you go for it 4th and 4 on the 20, why not go for it 4th and 3 on the 30? I'm not sure if I like the odds. If you keep flirting with those 4th downs. Calvin Cooper in at quarterback now. Claps his hands and Roy jumps off sides. So we got a really lucky break there. Manasseh had lost his helmet on the play before, so had to come out for a play. So you talk about gutsy. We were going for it on 4th down with our quarterback on the sidelines, so maybe there was no intention on going for it, just seeing if we could draw them off sides, which we did. 5-yard penalty, 1st and 10 Fremont. Handoff. Number 42, Chase Blanche. Looks like he picked up 2.
Number 11, Ahui. Gain of 2 on the play of Reed. Second down and 8.
It's about 2nd and 9. There we go. Fake handoff. Quick hit to Celeste Moa. Takes it, and you put him in the open field, and he bucks back in and just weaves through the Roy defense. And there you go. 6-6 Fremont. Ties it up on about a 10-yard little pass to Celeste Moa, and he took care of it from there. If you've never seen him play, I think you got to see it in person because it's the first step, it's the first movement, it's how explosive he is once he catches it, and he just runs by people. And then when he's putting on some of those moves and cutting through different angles, it's tough to catch him. So huge play by Celeste Moa. I guess it makes up for the miscommunication earlier where we threw it out of bounds. So extra point's good. It is 7-6 Fremont. Before I realized our mic didn't work, we were giving some shout-outs to our fall sports as they all wrap up right now. Fall sports, we have 7 sports that go through the fall, and we have been region champs in 4 of them. We're region champs in golf, region champs in boys cross country. The girls beat Westfield Friday and remain undefeated in region to clinch the region title for them. And, of course, football last week against Westfield clinched the region title, and tonight are hoping to make it our own and remove the possibility of sharing it with anybody. So that's what we're playing for. That's 4 out of 7. Like I said, that's what we had envisioned and hoped for. I know as a school and
Harvey.
kind of racking up that trophy case with these region titles.
Kicking off for the Silverwolves, number 7, Cam Graves.
So shout out to all of our fall sports who represented very well this fall. Hoping to keep things moving through this for the winter time.
Number 2. Number 2.
Kickoff. Number 2, Drayden Esplin catches it at the 2 or the 1, but then it carried him into the end zone, put his foot in the end zone. And in high school, if you do that, that is an automatic touchback. You cannot put your foot in the end zone at all, or it's automatically coming out to the 20. So it'll be Roy football, 1st and 10 from their own 20.
Number 2.
Good run. Number 2.
Spiriton hands it off to number 2,
Drayden Esplin.
Drayden Esplin, who picks up,
Palmer making the stop for the Silverwolves.
looks like 10 on the play. Yep, they're going to say 1st down. Big run for Esplin. Roy likes what they see right now. They've been very efficient moving the football so far. Spiriton with the quick shovel pass, number 2,
Brought down by
Drayden Esplin, who was caught after a gain of 1 or 2, but then carried the pile down for another 4 or 5 yards. So
long yard.
good strength by running back Esplin.
Yeah. The whole line's got concussions.
Handoff to Esplin again. This time hit right as he hits the line. Maybe a pickup of 1.
He's met immediately by number 32, Jackson Masters.
Brought down by number 32, Jack Masters. Jack has been a
Injured Royal on the play.
beast off the edge this year. And has done a good job. We have a timeout for injury. A Roy player down on the field. Not sure who that is. Looks like they're stretching the calf a little bit. Hopefully it's just a cramp. Never like to see injuries, especially this time of the year. Any injury this time of the year is usually, that means season ending at this point, because probably not going to recover in time for the playoffs, which start for Roy next week. Looks like he is. Number 12 is running off the field.
Okay, could we get some rice crackers now? All right. 3rd and
It's one of my kids' favorite things to this, and I teach those on some
They're down at 2.
Senior night tonight. Before the game, there was some honoring of our seniors. I didn't count, but I think we have about 26. That's pretty normal for a high school football team. I think most have about somewhere in the 20s.
maybe human sacrifices from the natives.
Number 6 in the Wildcat,
Ready snap to number 6. Gunnar Pearson for a short gain.
Gunnar Pearson.
for the 10.
Short little pickup. It's going to be 4th and 2.
Brings up
Let's see what Roy does here. I know if it was us, Fremont, we'd be going for it. Let's see if Roy decides to gamble like we gamble. Looks like they're gonna. Looks like we've got 2 running backs in the back. Direct snap, number 6. He gets it. Good pickup.
powerful run. Direct snap to number 6.
Gunnar Pearson picks up a good 5 to 6 yards. Got the 2 that was necessary,
Now for the
plus some more.
Silverwolves, number 4, Riker Shepard.
these games are scary because it seems simple. Like, you'll just, kids will realize, at some point that, oh, we got to get going and get locked in. But once the game has started, sometimes it's a little too late to get locked in. Sometimes it's a little late to kind of figure things out and things just start spiraling. Hope that doesn't happen tonight. Spiridon fumbles the snap.
Quarterback brought down after a fumbled snap.
Tried to recover, but Jack Masters was all over him. Nowhere to go and brings him down for a loss.
They'll be busted up as number 44 for the Wolves. And number 16, Jace.
Sometimes with senior day, I don't know, every school does it different, but I know some people's solution is, well, why don't you just honor the seniors after the game? That's risky too, because if you lose, you're not in the mood to honor anything. And that makes it difficult too. So you just kind of deal with that and hope the kids are mature enough to be honored and have this moment and then kind of regroup and reset. But that is hard sometimes. Or it takes a few minutes and a little bit of game to get things moving.
He said for us.
Looks like we have a 3rd and 8 coming up. Handoff to number 6. Looks like it's a halfback pass of some kind. That play was sniffed out from the beginning. I think we forced him to run the direction he didn't want to run for a right-handed thrower. That's a difficult pass rolling to that direction, but forced him to throw it across the body. And that lands on the turf. 4th and 8. Punt down to Slade Parker. Does not call for a fair catch. Puts a quick good move on. Hits the outside. There's going to be a flag, though, and that's usually a holding. So as awesome as that run was,
And number 2, Slade Parker on the
my guess is going to be it's coming back because that flag was thrown right after he caught that, which usually means some kind of a illegal hit, block in the back, something. That's never good for the receiving team.
They haven't shown us yet.
Yep, going to be a holding call. So Slade Parker's great return brought back.
That'll negate the return. Ball will be spotted.
It's going to be placed on about the 14-yard line. 1st and 10 Fremont. Manasseh back to pass with nothing open, scrambles,
Gain of 6 on the carry.
picks up about 6. And that'll take us to the end of the first quarter.
End of the first quarter of play.
Well,
For your Fremont Silverwolves 7, Roy 6.
that is not the score that anybody thought we'd see after one. But that is why you play the game, Danny. Like I said, these games, end of the year, teams coming in. Roy's got nothing to lose. Looked fired up from the start. Huge pick to start the game. Fremont a little flat. Big senior day. Big game last week. Clinched the region. Playoffs are looming in front of us. It's just one of those things. Hopefully we can get these kids refocused and start playing a little Fremont football here. If not, I'm sure there'll be a good halftime speech that'll get him going. I always ask Ross if he goes in the locker room at halftime to tell me what was said. He never, ever reveals what was said. I usually have to wait until the next day and go right to the source. So, going to get the second quarter kicked off here. 2nd and 4, Fremont football.
Wide open.
Oh.
Missed him.
Manasseh with a wide open Slade Parker. I'm not sure where the coverage was there. Looked like broken coverage, but it didn't matter because we overthrew that. Couldn't connect. Brings up 3rd and 4. Slade was wide open. That one sailed just a little bit. Way easier for us to see up here that he was wide open. Maybe not as easy down there, obviously, and tried to keep it to the boundary, but on that one, might want to throw that just towards the middle. Let him run in and catch it. 3rd and 4. Quick hit. Quick hit to tag Burton.
It's enough for another Fremont.
And gets enough for a Fremont first down. So moving the chains. We like the big strike though, so we know we're itching for it. Look for something big here. Some call to get somebody wide open. Look for maybe Celeste in the middle somewhere. Handoff to Taylor Graham. There was a hole there. It filled up kind of quickly. Picked up 2, it looks like. 2nd down and 8.
He picks up a couple of yards. It'll be 2nd down and 8. Fremont.
Tackle made by number 87.
How long was his touchdown last week? 60-something?
I think maybe 80. I don't know. 2nd and 7. Oh. Manasseh had all the time in the world inside that pocket there, and just nothing open. Almost took a sack there for a 10-yard loss, which would have been terrible, but got rid of the football. Roy's wanting a intentional grounding call, which looks like an 5 minutes later. Well, that took him 3 minutes to process. The white hat just sitting there processing what went on in his head, and then decides to call the penalty for intentional grounding, which is loss of down. Can't see who the white hat is tonight. I know a lot of these guys, they also umpire, so I gotta be kind of nice. I just don't know why it takes them a minute to decide whether that's intentional grounding or not, but there we go. 3rd and 20. Right where we want them. Oh. Manasseh, again, plenty of time. Flush out of the pocket and throws a bomb downfield. Underthrows, I think the intended target was Celeste Moa. Underthrows him, could have been picked, and then Moa turns into a DB and hammered him. Jarred the ball loose. And if we were playing Northridge, that might have been a targeting call. Good thing it was not. Case and Pearson back to punt. Number 5. Quick. Hits the edge. Cynic Harvey.
He's chased out of bounds by
And puts them down to the 15, 25-yard line. Great return for Roy. Roy student body giving us the "we can't hear you" chant. This is, I think we're a little stunned here. Spirit and back at quarterback. Handoff to number 0, Tusa.
Tusu for the carry.
Coming up for the tackle, Kendon Green, number 27 for the Silverwolves.
Kendon Green with the tackle. Pickup of about 2.
Pick up of about 2 on the carry. It'll be second down and 8.
Spiriton gives a hard count, and we jump. Offsides, Fremont. Going to be a 5-yard penalty. You know, you hear all the time in college football, not so much in the NFL, but college football, especially these trap games, things like that, things where just catch you sleeping. This would definitely be what they call a trap game. Big break coming up. Spiriton fields a low snap.
Run up the middle by the quarterback.
Coming up to help make the snap,
Pickup
number 8,
of a
Simon
few.
Noah, and number 50, Julian Mega.
Going to be enough for a first down. Moving the ball up to the 13-yard line. Spiriton keeps the ball himself. Quarterback design run. Takes it straight up the middle. Pickup of about 6 or 7. Going to be second down and 3. Roy's driving.
3 yards to go.
Another hard count again. Caught us in, looked like a blitz. And couldn't stop before he crossed the line. Again, in high school, it's a little different. If you cross that line at all, you don't get a chance to come back. It's just an automatic offside. So I know in the college level and in the pros, you get to, if you don't touch anybody and you get back before they snap it, it's okay. But not in high school. The minute you cross that line, it is a offsides penalty, and they blow the whistle immediately. They don't allow you to recover from that. Handoff, touchdown, Roy.
Touchdown, Royals. Ball carrier number 2, Drayden Esplin.
Esplin, big, hard 3-yard run for a touchdown. And, yeah, it looks like Roy is going to go for 2 here. Get this thing to 14-7. This would be a pretty big stop if we could stop him on this 2-point conversion here. Don't know that I'd be chasing points already, but looks like Roy's going to call timeout and think about this one for a minute, or didn't like what we're showing.
Timeout called by the Royals.
Quick shout out to a couple sponsorships that have helped our Fremont drill team this year.
You can see their banners around Moy Stadium.
Chick-fil-A
We encourage everyone to support our good sponsors.
has been
Support
a
us.
big sponsor of Fremont Drill. Lotus Aesthetics Incorporated, Little Mountain Ranch Supply, and Harmonic Holistic Healings. Thank you guys for your support of the drill team. They would like to thank you. So Roy's still going to come out, going to go for this 2-point conversion again. Don't sure if they change their play or what. We'll see if it works. Spiriton back as quarterback. Rolls out to the right, throws it across the middle to a wide open number 7, Riker Cordero. And the 2-point conversion is good. And folks, we got ourselves a ball game. It's 14-7. Roy. Not what you drew up, but so what? That's what you got. Let's see how we figure this out. And adversity comes in many, many different ways throughout a year. We'll see how we respond to this. Sometimes things come when you don't expect them. I know there's times for us in some of those games over spring break or in the middle where you think it's going to be maybe an easy win and get to throw 3 or 4 pitchers and get all guys some good work in. And by about the 4th inning when it's 0-0, you realize, yeah, we're not pulling anybody. Keep them in the game. And usually ends up working out for us, but it's always drama. Slade Parker hits through the hole. Great return. I don't see any flags. Gets the ball across midfield, brought down near the 40. Just about broke that. I don't think we've had a kick return or a punt return. I'm not certain about that this year. I know we've had some big ones, but Manassa ends up keeping the ball himself. Good pickup of about 11 yards. Fremont quickly on the football, looking to move it quick, catch him off guard a little bit, get things moving. Oh.
Handoff to number 42,
Chase Blanche. Number 50, Cason Howard, comes across and puts him to the ground. Chase is tough. He's not the biggest guy, but he's tough. But it put him straight to the ground. Manasseh rolls left. Looked like another broken play. Directs Celeste across the middle. Gets him the football and picks up a first down. Pick up about 20. Chase Blanche back there with Manasseh. First and 10 at the 15. Good tough run for Chase Blanche. Pick up about 5, maybe 6.
Gain of 6 on the carry. It'll be 2nd down and 4, Fremont.
Manasseh. Fake handoff, quick hit to Slade Parker in the end zone. Touchdown, Fremont. Slade wasn't going to let that one hit the turf. So quick score by Fremont. March right down the field.
In for the extra point attempt.
That's our strength. We can score quick.
Number 46,
last week's game was on pace to be about 4 hours long because we scored quick time and not take a lot of time off the clock.
The PAT is good.
Jordan Larkin hits the PAT,
Tonight's game.
and we got ourselves a 14-14 football game.
Royals 14.
Good response by Fremont's offense. Hopefully now let's get the defense rolling and get them reset, refocused, and see what we can do to make some adjustments to plug up these holes. I know a few weeks ago against Box Elder, the run game hurt us a little bit at Box Elder, and their running back kind of ran on us in that first half. And talking to coaches after, it was a few small adjustments here and there that we made at halftime. And that second half, they didn't score again, I don't think, until the last few minutes of that fourth quarter. But hopefully we can make some adjustments earlier here in the second quarter and see what we can do to stop the bleeding right now and get ourselves to halftime and come out and
For the Silverwolves, number 7, Cam Gray.
get back on it.
Esplin and Harvey back to return for the Royals.
Cam Graves back to kick. Harvey and Esplin back to receive. Looked like some kind of a pooch kick. But looked like some of our guys were a little excited to get down the field and hit somebody
Against the Silverwolves.
and cross that line before Cam kicked the ball. Sometimes in those kicks,
Ball to the 35-yard line for
the kicker slows up so he can put his type of specific kick on that, and I think the guys behind him are running like he's running full speed to kick it and cross that line before he kicked that football. I'm assuming it was a design pooch because it looked a little odd from the start, but did not work. This time Cam puts it downfield. Whoa. Harvey makes a huge, great reception. He had scooted up.
Number 5 with the return. St. Harvey.
He had scooted up thinking the ball might be closer to more of the 10, and Cam Graves kicked a line drive
Cam Graves.
that was over his head, and he makes a leaping grab moving back towards the goal line and then brings it out with a great run to about the 36, 37-yard line. Dang near broke it.
The ball
He
on
is
the
quick.
37-yard line. It'll be first and 10 Royals.
Almost as fast as you, Gary. See you run down the hall sometimes. I'm like, whoa, where'd Gary go?
He was quick. Spirit and back at quarterback hands the ball off.
Now we have Tusu with the ball carrier.
To number 0, Tusa. That is not his official last name. That's the abbreviation. He's got a long one. We're going to call him Tusa.
No gain on the play. It'll be second down and 10 Royals.
No gain on the run. That hole has been open tonight. Got that one filled up nicely, so hopefully that's a good sign that we've made some adjustments and are filling some of these holes nicely. Again with that one, Spirit and
Number 44 is good, but I don't have a 9.
Another quarterback keeper for a short gain.
Spirit and looking to
Coming across
come off the left side a little bit. Nothing going for him and brought down quickly by number 44. Don't know if that's a different number, but we do not have number 44 on our roster.
It'll be third and 6.
Third down. Roy's looking to hard count there, maybe looking to get us to jump a little bit, get some free yardage. We didn't bite. Well, it looked like maybe
Ball tipped
some
by
kind of a screen pass.
Shepard for the Silverwolves.
not sure if he ran into his own guy or,
Complete. It'll be 4th down and 6.
but it looked like he was bumped and the ball was thrown to no one. Incomplete pass, going to be 4th and 6.
Back deep to receive number 2, Slade Parker.
Slade Parker back to receive the punt. It's a short punt. Oh. Yeah. Camden Murphy down there, not anticipating the ball coming his way, but it just about landed on top of him, which would have been a huge break for Roy, but fortunately that ball bounced a different direction, and Roy downed it on the 37-yard line. It'll be Fremont football. 5 minutes to go in the first half. Plenty of time, or maybe even a couple scores. We'll see. That is our strength from the year. We do strike quickly. At least have the ability to strike quickly. Taylor Graham right up the middle.
Handoff to number 14, Taylor Graham for the Silverwolves.
Brought down by number 5, Harvey.
It'll be another free
Brought down by number 5, Harvey, saving a touchdown. Hand off to Taylor Graham again.
Brought down by number 1.
Got to ride it while it's working. Takes it about 8 yards. 2nd and 3. 2nd and 2.
Brought down early by number 50 and number 7.
Number 50 Howard and number 7 Cordero. This time bring Taylor Graham down right at the line of scrimmage. It's going to be 3rd and 3. Maybe a 1-yard loss. Looked like a very similar play. This time Roy had made an adjustment, was ready for it. Oh, that's going to be. I was going to say, I think that was.
downfield to number 1, Dagger Burton.
Pass was intended to tag Burton. He was being tackled as the ball was released. Neither side judge threw anything, so I thought maybe that one might go unnoticed somehow. But thankfully the back judge
Interference called against the Royals.
saw. I don't even think he was being secretive about that one.
That'll be another Fremont first down.
That was one of those, I'm going to hold him so he doesn't score a touchdown, and almost got away with it. But it's going to be a first down Fremont on the penalty. Manasseh incomplete pass to number 1 Tag Burton. Had a seam, was open, ball was just slightly overthrown. Going to be 2nd and 10 Fremont. Ooh.
Tackled in the backfield by number 5, Snick Harvey.
Taylor Graham went into motion, and we immediately hit him on a quick pass, and he was immediately brought down and hit hard. It's one of those where I'm not sure if that's setting something else up, but that seemed pretty easy to read. 3rd and 17. And a wide open Slade Parker. Got to be frustrating if you're Roy. Played great defense. Got him in 3rd and long. Just need a big play, and then you leave a Slade Parker wide open in the corner. And I mean wide open. Manasseh put it right on target. Right in the corner, touchdown.
And the PAT is good by number 46.
Jordan Larkin with the PAT. And just like that,
Score to tonight's game.
minute 50 seconds, another 7 points. 21-14, Fremont.
Good drive.
Cam Graves going to kick it off. Another line drive kick. We were just saying, don't kick it to number 5, and we kicked it right to number 5. And he takes it immediately. Woo.
Another good return by number 5, Nick Harvey.
To midfield.
He's finally brought down again by number 7, Cam Graves.
I got to imagine they said, don't kick it to number 5. And we kicked the line drive to number 5. Looks like we got a 2nd and 9. Oh, oh!
Ball deflected. Intercepted.
Looked like a handoff.
First down.
Maybe a trick play, but we read it perfectly, and he panicked and just threw the ball in the air, tipped up in the air, and then brought down for an interception. Number 10, it's Landon. That's Landon Palmer, not Landon Salveson.
Interception made by number 10, Landon Palmer.
It's a former player of mine, Landon Salveson. Shout out to him. Made his debut for Utah last week, but not Landon Salveson. Landon Palmer with the big pick.
Pressure made by number 1, Royals, Mason Welch.
Exactly what we needed there. You know, Nate would love to have one more score before half. 2nd and 10 from the Royal 47-yard line. Handoff to Chase Blanche.
Chase Blanche, the ball carrier.
Big pickup of about 8.
Blanche picks up 8. It'll be third down and 2.
Going to bring up 3rd and 2.
Blanche again, the ball carrier. This time enough for another Fremont. First down.
Get to the line quickly and a quick keeper. Looks like it. Roy's signaling their football. Maybe. I'm not sure if that ball came loose. Regardless, it's Fremont first down. Looks like we recovered if it was a fumble, but I'm not sure what that was. Manasseh with a great throw over to the boundary. Not sure. He caught the football, but we're trying to decide if his feet were in. The side judge, I don't think has any idea either. Strolled down there and had to make a tough decision, and he very cautiously waved his hands that it was caught. And there is no instant replay. So, huge catch. Give Tag Burton credit to bring that down. It looked like his feet were in, but you have no idea. Quickly snap the football. Chase Blanche with the good run. Pick up about a couple. The side judge came running down. Looked very confused. Probably hoping somebody else would make that call for him, but had to make a decision, and so very cautiously waved his hands up and down for a catch. We love officiators. Manasseh with plenty of time in the pocket. Finds Dean Hall. Big catch. Steps over a guy. Rumbles into the end zone. That's a touchdown, Fremont. 44 seconds left in the first half, and don't kid yourself. I wouldn't be surprised if we see an onside kick and an attempt to score another touchdown. Danny disagrees, but I'm telling you, let's bet something on that one. You should just probably kick it down the field, but PAT is good by Jordan Larkin.
And the PAT is good by Jordan Larkin, bringing tonight's score Fremont 28, Royals 14.
Oh, you went at halftime. I got some right here. I'm good. I'm good, Ross.
Ross has made his way into the booth.
Ross, did you take my pencil? No.
Ross, you look like it's December. You look like it's December. Ross is all bundled up. Usually Ross bundles up when it's 70 degrees, and then he wears short sleeves and shorts when it's 50 degrees.
Back to receive for the Royals, number 5 and number 2. Harvey Esplin.
Let's see if we can get to number 5 again. Somebody's got the conversation. I bet you kick it to 5 again.
Let's see if we kick it to number 5 again. This time, we made sure there was attention. So do not kick it to number 5. No, hey, onside kick. Come on, I spent too much time with Nate in the office. 44 seconds. He's salivating. He wants more points. Onside kick recovered by Fremont.
Good call, Clark.
Don't want to say I called that, but I literally called that. Now, don't look for a handoff here. This ball is either going to Celesi, or we're using him as a decoy to hit a wide open Tag Burton or Slade Parker.
43 seconds.
3 timeouts, 43 seconds. That's a lot of time, guys. Oh! Manasseh with the 20-yard strike to Slade Parker slanting right in the middle of the field. He was open. He just didn't look. The ball almost hit him. If he takes a peek, I think he can make an adjustment. He's a good enough athlete to make an adjustment, make that catch, and he's probably off to the end zone. He was not. Like I said, don't look for a run. I could be wrong. Manasseh steps in the pocket. Ooh. No. Pass intended for number 1, Tech Burton. That's one of those. There's a flag. 2 flags. One in our backfield, one in their backfield. And I'll tell you, the one on them is an unfortunate one. It's the underthrown ball that the receiver tries to go back and catch, and the defender really has nothing he can do, but they interfere. It's a guaranteed pass interference every time. And we got that call. But there's also looks like maybe a holding. Manasseh had like 15 seconds in the pocket. We got a holding on Fremont. That's it? So they said a holding on Fremont. I think we're going to pretend the other flag didn't come out. I guess the holding call negates the play anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered what we did. Looking for clarification on that. We don't know the answer to that. Maybe because it was a hold. We don't know. I'm not sure they know. Manasseh with a quick hit to Celeste. Immediately kind of had nothing going on. Uses Celeste as his comfort blanket. Hits him quickly, and he picks up about 30. Like I said, he catches that ball. There's defenders all over him, but his first step is just past them. And he's gone down the sideline. I thought maybe he had stepped out of bounds earlier, but it looked like he had kept his feet in bounds and got all the way up to the 25-yard line. So we got 1st and 10 with 25 seconds left in the game. Excuse me, in the half. Manasseh back to pass, nothing going, scrambles up the middle for a pickup of a couple. He can do that because we have timeouts available. And Nate immediately calls a timeout. At this point, inside the 30, we definitely want points here. Whether that be a field goal or, no, we prefer a touchdown. But I think we've got 3 plays left. 16 seconds, 2 timeouts.
Depends how quick you throw the ball. I guess it depends how quick you throw the ball. Run, Celeste, run. It is for us.
So Fremont up to the line of scrimmage. We've got 16 seconds left in the game with 2 timeouts left. So pretty much anything in the playbook's available.
Wide open.
Oh. Manasseh. Wide open to Celeste Moa. If you're Roy, you got to know the ball's going to go to him. And kind of a jump hit his pads or his knee or something and bounced right out. Incomplete pass, 3rd and 8. Oh! Looking for a signal. It's the same side judge. Do we have a signal yet?
They're celebrating.
They're celebrating. This time, Manasseh finds number 2, Slade Parker, in the end zone. I don't think the side judge has given us a signal yet. It's that same side judge that didn't know what to do last time. This time, I just don't think he called anything. It looked like a touchdown. Doesn't make a signal. We just started celebrating. He said, yeah, let's go with it. Touchdown. This poor side judge can't wait to get until halftime. We never saw a touchdown signal. No. I think we called it a touchdown by taking the PAT team out to the field and just deciding for them, and he went with it. That was funny. So, like I said, 44 seconds left. Look for an onside kick and a quick score. And we recovered the onside kick, and it is now 34-14. 4 seconds left in the first half. Oh. That side judge is begging the next touchdown to come to the opposite side. And this time we pooch it. Little 15, 20-yard pooch kick. That's how you keep it away from number 5. They'll take the football at the 35-yard line. 3 seconds to go. Roy will take a knee, take us to the end of the first half. So I think you're going to go into halftime feeling pretty good. Won't be thrilled about the way that started, but sometimes, guys, that's just the way it is on senior night. Slow starts, just the perfect storm there for a sluggish start. Hopefully they'll chat it up, get back out, and that's behind them now, and we can continue to put the foot down. But wouldn't be thrilled about the start. Sure, that'll be addressed at halftime, but more importantly, probably a positive message now by the way they responded, scoring 34 points regardless. Really, actually, mostly in the second quarter. Like I said, striking quickly. So we'll take a break. We're going to leave it right here for you so you can watch the cheerleaders perform and the drill team perform. They were fantastic last
Ladies
week.
and gentlemen,
They work really hard, so enjoy.
your Fremont cheerleaders.
get ready to kick off the second half. Danny, did you really say that? Back judge is ripping on our clock keeper up here, giving him some tips. I think we need to give the back judge some tips. Put your hands up when it's a touchdown. Halftime. Hey, the kiss cam was big this halftime. We got 5 or 6 kiss cam moments out there. Usually you get a few shy kids and it's tough to get one. But it was hopping at halftime. Had 5 or 6 of these dumb kids down here kiss camming it. To be in high school again. Wish we could give you some stats, but not something we have access to that quickly. Hopefully it was a productive halftime. Like I said, I don't think at that point it would be a negative message at all. I think at least if it was me, it would be a positive message. Understand that we overcame it. It happened. We overcame it. Put 34 points on the board. Now let's just stay focused for the second half. Got 24 minutes. Finish the job. And let's move on to the playoffs. Right now, it looked like as we checked earlier in the week, we were a 3 on the RPI, and it was really tight. I think it was Springville and Orem. I think Orem was 1, Springville was 2, and we are 3. Or maybe it was West. Yes, Springville was 4. It was West 1, Orem 2, and us. We were 3, and it was within a 100th of a point. So all 3 of those in front of us had very similar games this week. We actually had Roy as a 19 in the RPI, and that was we had the higher opponent. The other 2 were playing teams that were worse. So maybe if we all 3 win, there's a way that we could jump into the 2 spot. Not sure if we could jump into the 1 spot. Not that it makes a huge difference. Being in the top 4, though, definitely guarantees we get a home game on the 31st. Well, we get a first-round bye. We'll get a home game on the 31st on Halloween against a team that's probably around the 14-15 range. And assuming we win that, then we will get to host a team probably in the 7 to 8 range here at home. And the winner of that will head to the semifinals of the University of Utah. So every football coach in Utah, their goal is to get to the turf, get to Utah, make that Final Four, and then anything can happen. So we are no different. But you got to finish the second half first. Let's see if we kick it to number 5. Harvey has been incredible tonight. We kicked it to the other side. Oh, big difference. Kicked it to Esplin on the other side, and yes, different result. Hit immediately, brought down around the, looks like the 12-yard line. So big hit. And a great job keeping that ball inside the 20.
Number 44 is who?
Handoff.
For the Royals with the carry. Short game.
Pickup of a couple. Maybe two.
Boys in trouble. They did the best that they could do that first quarter, that first half. Yeah. We still just it's gonna get out of hand. It is.
Spirit in. Looked like a design run to the outside, and then a quick shovel pass on the inside. Good little play there. Little misdirection.
Shuttle pass from the quarterback for a Royals first down.
Esplin takes it, cuts it up, takes it 10-8 for the first down. Spirited with the keeper.
Quarterback keeper number 15, Rockwell Spirited.
He's tripped up quickly by number 44, Rexton Christian.
Brought down after pickup of about 1. It's going to bring up second down and 8. Looks like he picked up 2 on that.
Well, I just bumped into a lady wearing a 44 shirt. Is that right? That's my high school number. And college. And overseas.
Spirited back to pass. Throws a nice ball.
Number 2, Esplin, reception. For quarterback
Side judge must have had a talking to at halftime. He's waving his arms aggressively.
Royals first down.
That's a catch. Coverage was great. Threw it right into the basket. Great catch by Esplin.
Carry up to the middle for a short gain. Number 0.
Tusa with the carry.
Jackson Masters again on the stop for the Silverwolves.
Pickup of a couple.
Come on, boys, stiffen up.
Again, what you're hoping for after, I'm sure, a halftime chat was a big stop right here. Definitely don't want to give him points. Spirited with a designed keeper.
Quarterback keeper for a few yards up the middle.
Picks up a couple.
Stopped by a pack of wolves.
Not much there. I'm not sure. Not much has been there for him tonight on that play.
It'll be 3rd and 5.
Maybe just trying to make it more manageable, 3rd and 5. Probably in 4-down territory, I would assume. Field goal is not going to do any good, so trying to make a manageable spot for 2 plays here. Spirited on the same exact play. Kind of funny, I said it wasn't working and not there, and this time it was wide open. So they must be seeing something that I don't, because that one worked.
Helping to make the stop.
Late flag as well. Looked like a Roy player took some kind of a late hit from a Fremont player right next to the official. That's going to be an easy call. It's going to be a personal foul on Fremont, so tack on after a big 10, 15-yard run. You're going to tack on another 15. Again, a slow start coming out of the half. Going to be 1st and 10 from the 10. Number 2 with the carry.
Number 2, the ball carrier up the middle. Short game.
Esplin.
Yeah.
Man, when they let him scrum that long, our defense needs to start ripping at that football more. Like if they're letting us
Pickup of a couple. It's going to be 2nd and goal from the 8. Wouldn't be surprised if they tried that QB keeper. It hasn't been there, but it's also been there. And when it's there, it's getting big yardage out of it. Must be something they recognize in our defensive scheme that they like or don't like. And handoff to 0. Tusa. Not much there. Maybe a couple. Going to be another manageable 3rd and goal from the 5. I would definitely assume this is, like I said, 2 down, 4 down territory. Fremont's going to have to stop them twice. Spirit and back to pass, rolling to his right. Oh! Had him brought down. Kind of a leap and leaning throw. Got to the receiver's hands, but not sure if he was inbounds anyway, but did not make the catch. And like I said, yeah, they'll go for it. No reason not to. Tusa in the backfield with Spiridon. A low snap, kind of throws off the timing. Nothing going. Spiridon throws it just back across the middle, which is always a no-no for a quarterback, but I think he was just hoping that maybe somebody would come across to make a catch because everybody was covered. That's going to be a turnover on down. So huge stop for Fremont. After Roy moved the ball down the field, really thanks to one big 40-yard pass and a great catch by Esplin. And then a penalty and then a big stop. Roy not quite set on defense. We quick snap.
Ball carrier number 42, Chase Blanche.
Chase Blanche on the carry, pickup of about 5. Again to Chase Blanche. This time not much.
Brought down by Royals, number 87.
He'll bring up 3rd and 4, Fremont.
Roy's drive ate up half the 3rd quarter, which is probably good for both sides maybe. I know with a team that has quick striking ability, you do want to possess the ball. Don't give them an opportunity. Don't want to keep giving them chances. Nate doesn't like what he sees, and we've got a Fremont timeout with 5 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. So at halftime, we honored, as we mentioned earlier, our boys cross-country team, region champs. They do it a little differently in cross-country. The region, it doesn't necessarily matter how you do in region. That matters to the teams in the region, but they go to districts, and it's how you finish there is what qualifies you for state. So I know this morning we got the results that we did really, really good the other day. Finished 2nd. There's about 4 schools that have very similar times. So hopefully if we can perform to our best of our abilities, we will be right there at the end with a shot.
Make a miss. Oh, good spin.
Manasseh in the pocket, a little bit of trouble, dumps it off to Moa. Puts a great spin move on a kid. Picks up an extra 5 or 6. I think if you're Roy, you've got to have somebody always there with Moa. He shouldn't be able to get loose like that as an outlet for Manasseh. But he keeps getting loose. Probably easier said than done would be my guess. Chase Blanche on the carry. Pickup of 2.
Picks up a couple yards for the Silverwolves. It'll be second down and 8.
Yeah.
Touchdown by Welch for
Quick.
the Royals.
Penalty on the play. I'm going to guess. I would say false start, but let's see what. Looks like they're pointing at Roy's direction. It's going to be an offsides. Like I said, tough in high school, and they call that ball dead. Usually in the college game, or pro game, you know that as a false start. But in high school, as we mentioned before, if you cross that line, it is also going to be a dead ball. So going to be an offsides on Roy. Going to be 2nd and 2. Manasseh handoff to Chase Blanche. Pickup of about 3.
Chase Blanche.
It's going to be enough for a Fremont first down.
Blanche picks up enough for another Fremont first down.
Pretty good crowd tonight for a Wednesday night. Shout out to Roy. Traveled pretty well. Roy has a great community. Great community that loves their school and supports it wholeheartedly. So it's awesome what they do in the Roy area. Another penalty on that play. Looks like it's going to be a holding call, so it's going to back us up 10 yards.
Holding will be the call. That'll push it back.
1st and 20.
First and 20 for the Silverwolves.
Three minutes, 30 seconds left in the third quarter. Game's moved pretty quick. I just jinxed it. Another penalty. Yeah, I would say false start again.
False start called against the Silverwolves.
Just been one of those nights, a little off all night tonight.
First down.
I don't know if it's the short week. Just not right. Handoff to Chase Blanche.
Chase Blanche, the ball carrier.
Gets about 10 of those yards back, maybe 8. I was second and 20, 1st and 25. Now it's 2nd and 18. Another handoff to Chase Blanche. Not much there on that one.
Stopped by number 50, Casey Howard.
Stopped by number 15, brought down by Casey Howard. A lot of the Roy players, the line especially, is wearing those concussion protection hats on top of their helmet. Makes their heads look huge. Ooh. Manasseh rolling.
Tua Tagovailoa's pass complete to number
Makes a tough throw. He's left-handed, so going that direction makes it a very difficult throw. Throws the ball completed to Tag Burton right there on the about 17 yards. So we're 1 yard short, and yeah, we're going for it. 4th and 1, no doubt about that. Why not? Punting is overrated. Ooh, big handoff. Chase Blanche.
Handoff to number 42, Chase Blanche.
Looks like he got enough for first down. Pick up about 3.
Blanche makes enough to pick up another Fremont first down.
I like it. You might think it's crazy, but that line knows their coach believes in them. Give them the football. Let them pick up 1 yard. Manasseh rolls out. Quick pass to a Dean Hall, cutting across the middle, tight end. Makes a big catch and a big pickup. About 15.
Picks up another Fremont first down.
Gives a little stiff arm at the end.
Injured player on the last play.
That Dean Hall's a big kid. He's a big target.
Is that Roy coming across? Roy Trader?
Dean Hall's a nice target for Manasseh. Big body. Like to see the ball, and I'd like to see him get it a few times a game. He's does a good job running as well once he gets it. It's tough to defend. You've got Slessie Moa, obviously, that everybody's attention gets put on, and whether you double team him or triple team him, we've done a good job this whole year of finding ways to get him the football. Even against Corner Canyon and Davis and schools like that, we found ways to have him make a difference. But by double teaming him, you do open up other receivers, and we've done a good job of hitting those guys. Tag Burton, Slade Parker, and tight end Dean Hall. Pick your poison. We have an injured Royal on the field on the Fremont side. Looks like they're working on a leg. Hopefully it's just a muscle strain. Coach Nate showing some good sportsmanship. Bending over, helping.
He's showing a lot of courage shaking it off like that. Cramps can hurt, Gary.
Cramps do hurt.
Gary, I get feet cramps at night.
All of us old men up here complaining about our cramp if we're just running 10-yard sprints. They do hurt. Cramped once playing pickleball. Calf. When you're not used to quick bursts all the time, they'll get you. Yeah, that's Esplin number 2. It's cramping, it looks like. I don't blame him. He's been both sides running up and down this field. He deserves to cramp. You don't see that too much in these late October games. Summertime or August games, yes, but not too much there. So he's sure exerting himself quite a bit. So it brings up 1st and 10 on the 43. Ooh. Manasseh with a huge pass over the middle. Tag Burton falling down to the turf makes a heck of a catch. That's a great play by Tag Burton.
Pass broken up by number 21 for the Royals.
Manasseh, quick pass to Moa, broken up by number 21, Julian Tarrin. Good breakup on the play.
You still want me to put 20 on?
It's going to bring up second down and 10.
This isn't empty.
Been a quick quarter. There's been 2 possessions, one by Roy and one by us. Both Roy's was 6 minutes long and ours is currently 5 minutes long. So, like I said, as long as we turn this into points, I think everybody will be happy. Not going to be happy about another penalty. Oh, it's not. Timeout. Fremont.
Timeout on the field called by Fremont.
So again, looking forward, looks like we'll have a bye next week, as we will probably end up being a 3 seed or a 2 seed. And then we will host the winners next week on Halloween here. And just a programming note, unfortunately, I will be out of town. So that game may not be streamed. We will hopefully win that game and then host another playoff game on November 7th, I believe. And we will be here for that one. That'll be a fun one. That'll be a game that the winner gets to advance the Utah to the turf in the Final Four. That'll be a big one. So RPI matters in the sense of these top 4 teams in the RPI get to host all the way until Utah. So we will not be hitting the road to another high school. It is all here. Ooh, we got a Slade Parker switches Manasseh in the backfield. Direct snap, a wildcat formation. Slade Parker with a big run.
Direct snap to number 2, Slade Parker.
Brought down by the Royals secondary.
Pickup of
Parker picks up another
a
Fremont.
good chunk of yards to get a Fremont first down, and Fremont quickly on the football. Manasseh back at quarterback. We don't like these 5-minute drives. We like the 1-minute drives. Play action.
Interception by
That ball's intercepted by Roy. Play action pass looked like it was intended for number 2, Slade Parker. A little underthrown, and Roy just jumped in front of that and picked it. Who was that? Who was that? Picked it? What number? What number picked that? Intercepted by Cynic Harvey, their speedster. That ball didn't really have a chance. So although we chewed up a good chunk of clock, that one's going to be disappointing that we ended with no points.
Ahui, good gain up the middle.
Roy hands the ball off to number 11,
And Braxton Christensen
Ahui,
tackle for the Silverwolves.
for a pickup of about 6. 24 seconds running on the third quarter. Looks like Roy will try to get off one more play before the quarter. Hand off again to number 11, Ahui.
Close to a first down for the Roy Royals.
And that's going to bring up 3rd and short, but the quarter's going to come to an end.
Making a stop of the
So after 3,
Silverwolves. And that's the end of the third quarter of play. With the score
it's been a while since we haven't had no points in the third quarter for either team.
Royals 14.
Goose eggs in the third quarter. 34-14.
Show us how we do it.
This is going to be one of those games that you just take the W at the end of the night, and honestly, you don't even dwell on it much. You just move on. Maybe highlight a few things that might have been some trends or things that are concerning, but honestly, if it's not anything that's been a concern of ours for the last few weeks, you just let it go. Chalk it up to kids being 17 and 18 years old and a lot going on, and just been one of those nights tonight. Roy's going to take over. Looks like it's 3rd and 1. Start of the fourth quarter. Looks like they're like in a tush-push formation. Everybody's copying the Eagles. Penalty, looks like an offside. Sometimes in that tush-push, everybody gets up to the line so close. Helmets are hanging across that line. It looks like that was the case. They kind of came up in a bunch formation, and we tried to bunch with them, and some helmets had crossed the line. Automatic first down. 1st and 10, Royals. Spirited with a QB keeper. He's had that a few times where it doesn't seem like there's not a whole lot there, and then other times he breaks it for 15. I would say it's more often than not there, but looks like Roy is just content bleeding this clock, minimizing damage. Not looking to get the ball downfield. Spirit and nobody open, forced to roll out. Kind of methodically moves himself about 14 yards before he's brought down by Christensen. Big pickup for Roy. I think they'd be happy just taking another 6 minutes off the clock and maybe finishing with some points. Oh, Hui. We haven't seen him all night. He's ran the football a couple times and ran very aggressively. Hit early at the line of scrimmage and then carried the pile 8 yards, but then coughed up the football. And now Hui remains on the ground. Bounces up quickly. Not sure if something like that could be stepped on, could be a lot of things, but huge turnover. Haven't seen him run the football all night, and these last couple possessions he's ran hard. I'm not sure what grade he's in. Could be a youngster. Holding on to the football is I think a lesson every running back learns. Usually the hard way. Manassa hands it off to Taylor Graham. Pickup of about 5.
And off number 14.
Second down and 5. Manasseh back to pass. Quick hit to tag Burton.
Tagovailoa's pass complete to number 1 Taggart Burton. Picks up another Fremont.
Plenty of yardage for a first down. Pickup of about 10.
Tackle made by number 5 for the Royals.
Fremont quickly on the football, looking to score. I know we like to score. Manasseh back to pass. Nothing there. Directing traffic. Has a lot of time. And when that happens, there's usually a flag.
Unable to go downfield, chased out of bounds. There's a flag on the play.
Directing traffic as he was rolling out of the pocket. Trying to get somebody to move downfield, but unfortunately it was a holding, so that's coming back anyway. Going to be 1st and 20. Holding, that's something we're going to have to work some kinks out before we get to the playoffs. That has been something we have done all year. Calvin Cooper in at quarterback. Calvin Cooper. Nobody open again. Good coverage on Roy. That's multiple times tonight. Their backs have done a great job of containing our receivers at times. Cooper running around. Scrambles for about 6 or 7. Manasseh back in the game. Handoff to Taylor Graham. Ooh.
Number 14, Taylor Graham, the ball carrier.
Good carry. Up to the 40-yard line. Got most of it back.
That'll bring up
It's going to bring up 3rd and 3. I would say we're in 4-down territory here. So if we don't get it here, we're in the Wildcat with Slade Parker. Slade Parker hits a hole, kicks it outside. Quick enough to get to the edge, and touchdown.
in for another Fremont.
Slade Parker. Good little changeup out of the Wildcat formation. Huge hole, bounces to the outside, and speed kills. Beat the Roy corners to the edge. Touchdown, Slade Parker. Jordan Larkin's kick is up and good.
Number 46, Jordan Larkin. Bringing tonight's score.
41 to 14. 8.5 minutes left in the 4th quarter. That's why Roy, I think, is using those methodical drives. They'd like to eat up clock so that we can't do that. That was a quick score. I think Roy would be happy eating 8 minutes in the clock, punching it in the end zone, and calling it a night.